Welcome back to Extreme Outdoor Survival. If you're new here, subscribe right now because this channel is built for people who take survival seriously, not as entertainment but as applied knowledge. Tonight's topic gets real fast. A freezing winter night in an off-grid cabin is not romantic, cinematic, or nostalgic. It's cold that bites through ego and reminds us why past generations respected winter as a season that could kill the unprepared. The first hour after sunset is when mistakes compound. Moisture trapped in clothing freezes, fires go out faster than expected, and darkness reshapes judgment. Stay with me for the next few minutes. By the end, you'll know the 7 items that repeatedly made the difference between endurance and tragedy, the same principles that carried trappers, frontier families, wartime partisans, and Arctic explorers through nights where failure wasn't an option. Let's get into practical reality. The first item is dependable heat, and that means both a primary heat source and a backup. A wood stove is ideal because it gives steady, radiant heat and allows controlled burning through the night. But history is full of cabins that burned down because someone depended on improvisation rather than preparation. The practical application here is simple. If the cabin has a stove, you prepare dry split wood indoors before dark. Keep kindling separated and stage it near the stove so you never have to step outside with wet boots at 2 a.m. The backup is essential catalytic heater, extra stove fuel, or even heated rocks wrapped in cloth to place at your feet in an emergency. Heat is not a luxury. It's the determinant of whether dexterity and decision-making survive the night. The second item is proper layered clothing that stays dry. Layers were not invented by outdoor brands. Roman soldiers, Viking sailors, and Siberian hunters already understood that trapped air is insulation. Wool remains the gold standard because it insulates even when wet. The practical steps are straightforward base layer to pull sweat away, insulating layer to trap heat, and an outer shell to block wind. You do not sleep in damp socks or a damp shirt. You change before your body cools. That single discipline has saved more lives historically than any gadget sold in stores. The third item is reliable fire-starting capability. Not a single lighter you hope works. People in history always carried redundancy, flint and steel, char cloth, birch bark, resin-rich kindling. Your modern translation should be waterproof matches, a storm lighter, and a ferro rod stored separately, so a single failure doesn't cascade into disaster. Apply it as practice, not theory. If you can't start a fire with gloves on, in wind, on snow, after dark, you don't have fire skills yet. You keep practicing until you can. That is how serious survivalists treat the subject. The fourth item is water security. Cold environments dehydrate faster than most beginners expect because cold air is dry and respiration pulls moisture out with every breath. Melted snow is not automatically water security unless you actually have the means to melt it safely and long enough to avoid contamination. Boiling is the historical standard and still the best method. The actionable step is pre-melting and storing water before nightfall, so you're not standing outside tending a pot in high winds later. If you ever doubt whether you have enough water, the answer is already no. The fifth item is calorie-dense food that doesn't require elaborate preparation. History is honest on this point. People didn't survive winter on salads. They survived on fat and heavy fuel foods because, well, the body burns calories just to maintain core temperature. Jerky with added fat, hard cheese, nuts, dense bread, pemmican, and modern freeze-dried meals all do the same job. A practical application is to pre-portion food for the night and morning, so you don't need to expose yourself to cold searching around in the dark. You eat before sleep to give your body fuel. That's not comfort eating, that's thermoregulation. The sixth item is light that actually lasts. Once historical daylight ended, work didn't stop. Lanterns, tallow candles, and oil lamps were survival tools, not decoration. Today, the equivalent is a headlamp, and spare batteries kept warm inside a pocket so they don't drain in the cold. Light isn't just about seeing, it is about preventing accidents, safely managing fire, reading instruments and treating injuries. A simple, real example: repairing a malfunctioning stove in total darkness is nearly impossible. With reliable light, it's an inconvenience instead of a crisis. The seventh item is a serious first aid and hypothermia kit that you actually know how to use. Frostbite, burns from stoves, axe cuts, smoke inhalation, and dehydration all cluster together in winter survival history. Your kit isn't decoration. It should include insulation wraps, blister treatment, burn dressings, pain control, and a way to re-warm hands slowly without causing tissue damage. The practical steps aren't glamorous. Remove wet clothing. Insulate the person from the ground. Give warm, sweet liquids if consciousness allows. Rewarm gradually. Never rub frozen skin. Those steps come straight from centuries of human experience in cold places. All 7 items work together as a system. Heat without dry clothing fails. Fire without water is incomplete. Food without light doesn't get prepared. A cabin is not safety by default. It is only as safe as the preparation brought inside it. The past already taught these lessons, often brutally. Our advantage is that we can learn them without paying the same price. If this was helpful, subscribe to Extreme Outdoor Survival. Share this video with someone who treats history and survival as disciplines, not hobbies, and add your own historical examples or field experience in the comments. The goal here is not entertainment. The goal is to preserve knowledge that once kept families, explorers, and soldiers alive through winters that did not forgive mistakes.